After a very stimulating debate, we now move further with our next session, the panel discussion. I would like to invite our panelists on the dais. Dr. Sanjay Nagraj, Sir is a surgeon with specialization in hepatopancreatic surgery and liver transplantation, working as a consultant surgeon and coordinator of the Department of Surgical Gastroenterology at Bristol Hospital, and also heads the Department of General Surgery at the Kibi Baba Municipal General Hospital. We welcome you, sir.
I would like to invite Dr. Avinash Sukher. Sir is the Director and Dean of St. James Medical College and KM Hospital. Also Professor of Gastroenterology and was past President of Indian Association of Hepatopancreatic and Liver.
Our next panelist, Dr. Sanjay Nagraj will be the moderator for this discussion. Our next panelist, Dr. Sunil Kumar Pandya, sir is a professor of neurosurgery at our very own St. James Medical College and the chairperson of MCQ Chair of Medical Management.
Dr. Mario Weiss. Sir received his medical education at St. James Medical College in Bangalore.
Dr. Ravi Ramakandan, sir, with over 35 years of experience. Dr. Ramakandan was also a professor and head of Department of Radiology at KM Hospital, and he also visited Brigham and Women's College Hospital of Harvard Medical School. So we welcome you.
Dr. Kiran Kumar, he completed his undergraduation at BJMC and Sassoon General Hospital, Pune, and went on to achieve his Master of Public Health in Health Policy at Harvard School of Public Health.
Welcome you, sir. Our second panelist, Dr. Ravina Satyanam, now is a professor and head of Department of Clinical Pharmacology at St. James Medical College and KM Hospital. She is a part of WHO Expert Advisory Panel on the Drug Evaluation and on the Narco Ethics Committee. We welcome you, ma'am. Entrance exams, the inevitable and inescapable tradition of a medical student's life. The rules and methods of these tests may not be the same as they were in the past, but the stakes are still as high as ever. With the introduction of MCQs, has this tradition been spoiled, or has it now become a level playing field? Here's the opinion of our esteemed and experienced panelists on the topic on entrance exams and MCQs, spoilers or levelers. I would like to invite our moderator, Dr. Nagraj, to proceed with the
Thank you. So, as I was sitting there listening to the previous debate, I could not help but go back a little in time and back to the debates we would have. And I would excuse you, Kiran, but most of the others on this dais would perhaps remember some of those debates. I think there are two differences from our time. First is that we never wore ties or coats. What is this music for ties and coats in this weather? But of course, what is completely different now is that there is no Dr. Manu Kothari sitting there right till the end and giving his final comments on almost every debate we had. And today morning when I was listening to the inaugural session, I cannot help but commenting on the fact that whilst I have heard many people speak about Dr. Kothari, the first time I heard a son speak about his father, and I think the complete analytical manner in which Vatsal spoke about Dr. Kothari is a tribute to Dr. Kothari himself. So, when Dr. Mehta approached me and said that would you like to conduct a panel discussion on some topic which is of interest to everyone, I thought for a few days and I zoomed down to this topic. And this is something that has been bothering me for the last few years. As I interact with my own PG students, my resident doctors, for that matter, my daughter who is now in third year of BBS in TNMC. Looking at the entire explosion or the entire way in which entrance exams and of course the MCQ based entrance exams have come into this country. And when we look back in our time, where we were some of the people who actually fought tooth and nail against subjectivity in exams. We fought tooth and nail against influence in exams. And therefore, when we saw more and more objective styles of examination coming in, there was a feeling that we are moving towards a more objective and a more fair method of conducting exams. So, we have a panel here who have seen it all, except perhaps Kiran a little, and I later on tell you why I invited Kiran to be on this panel. But my first question, and I'll perhaps suggest that Dr. Supe answers this, and this is not because he's the dean, but because he's done a tremendous amount of work in the area of medical education in India, is what is the history behind why we moved from those subjective exams that were there when all of us were students to this current pattern of MCQs and then of course the MCQ based entrance exams?
I think all of us probably had given the university exams and got into post-graduation, and our undergraduate also we went through university exams. Somewhere in 1990, I think the question came when you want to transfer one student to another university in the state and across the state. I think that was a time when the national exams and the state exams started taking place, I think, and the whole really started, I think the MCQ started around 99 or something, and that was a time when people thought that we should take away the subjectivity and objectivity was really brought in. And it has definitely caused a lot of problems, no issues about that. But what is the solution for us? That is our main concern.
But before we go to the problem, so can I ask any of you, can we will keep it a little open, this is informal. But so was the idea to level the playing field? First of all, because there was inequity, there was states in India which had very few medical colleges, there was Bombay was dominating. In my time, if you were a Bombay domicile, you would walk into a Bombay medical college. So was that an attempt to level the playing field?
The basic problem was the universities had differential marks. I mean, if you look at, say, Latur pattern was there, Latur pattern was there where the marks were very high. On the other side, you will find the other universities will not have that many marks. Now, how will you compare one student with the other student? And that was the main reason why I think the university exams were really not given importance, but you brought the one common test. And if you have to conduct one common test in India, then the easiest way is to do an easiest, I am saying. It's not the right way. Easiest way is to do MCQs. And therefore MCQ was adopted as one of the methods. Because if I want to take interviews of people, if I want to take a subjective or answer based on long essay or something, it would cause still a lot of problems because who will really correct those?
So Dr. Vaz, so Dr. Supe has told us that this was the basic idea. But then what about these whole ideas of checking out somebody's aptitude, attitude? Is it something that needs to be checked? If so, or is it something that you acquire? What are your views? Because it seems that therefore we lost the ability to assess a candidate. I'm saying this solely because obviously there are both sides to it. His or her aptitude, attitude, interests, etc.
I think the idea of having some objective system as an initial screening method is something that I think most people would agree with. So I come from a college where we admitted on the basis of a national entrance exam, but this was followed, we used to admit 60 students, and this was followed with 5 days of interviews and aptitude testing, where thrice the number of students who were to be admitted were called for that process. Since last year, we have stopped that. The issue that always arises is how much can we gauge aptitude? Now that that option does not exist, do we just need to rise up to the challenge of dealing with students as they come in and moving ahead? Having said that, I think we face the problem of also dealing with large student numbers. And so in as much as we would like to ensure that every student who comes in, is exposed to something which allows them to develop that aptitude if they were missing it, we will probably not succeed, and that's the situation.
Can I just add one here?
Yeah, sure.
When I did my master's, I think we had one subject called admissions. And I think we have to make science very clear here. What is the evidence available and how do we look at it? Now, what we test in all these MCQs is only knowledge. And knowledge can be tested. There is no issue about it. Second is skill. Now, when you are trying to test skill today, it is extremely difficult to do it like say USA is doing it. And USA done it through CSA exam. And that was done through 5 centers in the USA where they had invested a lot of money, plus they have now standardized it to a level where we can do it for a massive level. We have 60,000 admissions, 11 lakh people appear for exams. The third question is aptitude. How do you test aptitude? If you go to University of Melbourne or Canadian universities, they conduct a session called MME-OSCE. Very interesting. I was once gone and attended that. How do they attend? They call about community people and they would ask questions, simple questions they will ask you about is that you are going with your friend to an airport, you have to catch a flight and there is somebody who gets an accident, so what will you do? Will you cancel your flight or you will something like that? So they test you on all this. Based on that they select medical students. Now this is one, many practices are done. How does it impact on development of student as a good doctor? Aptitude, yes. Knowledge, no. Any skill, no. So we have to be very clear what is the evidence and how people really select it. So most of the time it comes to the logistics, available resources, how are you able to give it more fair. So when we give more chance to the fairness, the quality of the exam and our purpose becomes very focused. And that is we have got into that trap.
So one of the things is that we tended to move towards these MCQs because fairness was the issue, and I brought it up very. So the moment you make it a little subjective, the moment you leave it to an individual to judge something, you are open to critique on fairness. And we are not exactly a society famous for being very fair in exams. I mean, we've had scandals after scandals, and in my time, you remember that you're a doctor's kid, you would go through and so on and so forth. The thing is, what I just want to ask now, let's say Dr. Pandya or Ravi or any of you, that whilst you move up, therefore, should you be making it more and more aptitude based? So whilst entry level, you can perhaps be very objective with MCQ. But what happens, Dr. Pandya, neurosurgery? I remember you were one of the very few departments to actually test surgical skills in exams. Once upon a time, it's been stopped. So should you be actually testing skills? Should you be, as they go up, should you be actually looking at aptitude rather than just go by the MCQs? You can sit there.
Let me first restrict myself only to neurosurgery. We used to have a practice when we had our practical examinations that the candidate had to actually perform a neurosurgical operation. There was a safety factor built in that either the associate professor or the head of the assisting for that operation. So in case there was any kind of a problem or this guy was going in the wrong direction, he would stop him and he would take over, which almost instantly meant that the examiners would put a black mark because of this error which he had made. For certain reasons which we won't go into, this system was stopped. Now today we have no way of checking how good a neurosurgeon is in his neurosurgical operative skill when he comes out. We don't know. There's no way of measuring now. I think this is a big drawback because we are now releasing on the public somebody whose operative skills we are unclear about. Now, did this operative exercise work? Yes, it worked, because every 2 or 3 examinations there would be a candidate who would fail only on the operative exercise.
So, Ravi, I would love any views on this movement from subjective to objective, and when do you think that's taken us? Before I go to other issues.
I believe in our country where we have, as Supe said, lakhs and lakhs of candidates, we need to have an MCQ. I'm saying we need to have an MCQ. What does MCQ test? It tests memory. It doesn't test necessarily intelligence. If you see these bachus, they are going through tuition classes, and they actually drill the answer into them. You see a question like that, this is the answer. So it involves tremendous amount of memory to remember that. It involves hard work, unending hard work, and both these qualities are required to be a physician. What it does not need is the aptitude test, and I believe aptitude is very difficult to test. In no matter what you do with lakhs of students, 11 lakhs did you say? 11 lakhs but choose who's going to test? Where are the people to test? How are you going to test? There is no practical alternative. And I believe aptitude or what physician you become is at the level of when you join medical school and who coaches you, who teaches you, who becomes your mentor and who is your role model. So if you need to have an aptitude test, it needs to be for the teachers, not for the bachus.
The bachus who are giving these MCQs now, by the way, are also being trained in coaching classes. By the way, this is recent advances that you have coaching classes for everything. So they are actually being coached. So when we said we are bringing more objective fairness, actually there is still an advantage of those who can go to these coaching classes. There is still an advantage of those who can pay large sums of money for the coaching class, get themselves tutored and coached for. So I just want to quickly bring in Kiran. So the reason, I mean, Kiran is a graduate of course, from Pune BJ Medical, but last 6 years you've been at Harvard Medical School, and so I just want to bring in that perspective. I'm not at all suggesting that we imitate any country. We should not. The Americans are the last people that we should imitate in many ways. But it seems to me that outside of India, there is an attempt at every level to not just look at the marks from an exam, but look at what you are, who you are, what are your interests, etc. Harvard takes special pride in that. So you must tell us something about that.
I think as hello.
Yeah, we can.
I think as has been pointed out, one thing we should remember is that any system
Component, you try to bring the clinical judgmental kind of an understanding of the students, and you are trying to really check it objectively. And that was the component which was case-based and higher levels of questions which were tested in that. So, what was done, and these are all evaluated, then these are marked, and they have all difficulty index and discriminating index and all that has been analyzed. And then you have that kind of a question. And then you have a randomization also really comes into this. And it is all, the papers are really put to the students in the different patterns. There is a daily kind of an difficulty level which is matched. So there is no kind of, today also the exam is conducted for 15 or 20 days. It's not conducted for one day, but actually NEET UG probably is conducted on one day, but PG is conducted for 15 days. So they have been trying to bring in a lot of change into the whole system. They have taken help of, I think, Pearson or something like that. And and they have tried to use what tests are done by the ATM, and they have, National Board has taken help of that, so that all the questions which are there are now validated for good quality and will make students think about clinical judgment. Now what is the advantage of this? Not only you are raising the level of the exam, at the same time students over a period of time will realize that they will have to go to the wards, they will have to look at the clinical judgment, which probably our students in last 10 years have forgotten, which will probably bring in the clinical kind of an importance for the students. So that was, I think, the attempt which was made in NEET, and I am sure over years the NEET will improve. That's what my feeling is.
The issue that I also wanted you to respond and the others is that what is also happening therefore is that there is a certain dominance of language, because you have therefore centralization for one language, and there is a feeling that the rights of states are being trampled. A state is, healthcare is a state subject, state is investing in health, state is investing in medical colleges, but our seats are going to others. So, any views on that?
The reasons for state getting unhappy are many more.
Sure.
I don't think they are quality of exams. I think.
So you're saying that when states like Tamil Nadu demand that they be given their rights, the reasons are more than just for local students. So to us, the South may not be very happy with the NEET, or is not happy with NEET.
I actually can't comment on Tamil Nadu, but I think one of the things that Tamil Nadu often raises is that they have been very successful at getting their students to go and work within their system, and that is why their health indicators have improved. So I think that is a point that they made.
Yeah. So what about students having to travel the length and breadth of the country to distant places, being completely displaced because of the national level? Is that an issue at all, or you don't think that's an issue? Culturally completely different issue?
Definitely. But I think we have seen students getting adjusted so well. And I don't see any, I understand maybe you are saying Maharashtra students are not getting in Maharashtra, they have to go abroad. And especially when we started, we used to feel our GS is not getting in GS, he has to go to JJ. But I think we have to really look beyond. And if you want fairness, probably you have to accept this.
Yeah, so I think the question that also comes up then is that what is this desperation? So you move to another system, but now you have people scampering all over, giving exams, coaching classes. So is this finally just a reflection of the fact that we have a huge demand-supply gap? Is enough to believe that there's a huge demand-supply gap, and that's the problem? Because there is a viewpoint. I don't subscribe to it, that therefore you actually increase the supply with whatever form. Is that a way to reduce the importance of exams and reduce the desperation, reduce the commercialism, the coaching classes and all that is happening?
There is no question that there is a mismatch between demand and supply, and that keeps increasing every year. There's no question about that. In our time it was on a smaller scale, but you wanted to be desperately a doctor. I wanted to be a doctor desperately. So that continues. The only number of children who want to be doctors is increasing, and the number of
Then you get vyapam.
Sorry?
Then you get vyapam, the desperation leads to vyapam.
Yeah. So that's one of the important reasons why this desperation there, coaching classes are there. And coming back to the point of...
So why not open it up? I mean, why not have large number of seats? There are people arguing like that.
I think Dr. Survey is the best person to answer that. Why not have a large number of seats? You are in the admin of all that.
No, I'm not in admin anyway. But I can tell you what is the ministry view on this. I was on various committees of the ministry, I have discussed it with everybody, so I can tell
Exactly
you.
what we want is your view.
Exactly. India today has 9 lakh doctors. I don't know how many are functioning MBBS and specialists. We have 6 lakh Ayush doctors. And so we have total 15 lakh doctors. And if you really look at the whole ratio, it is around say 1:1000, that's what we want to bring. We want to bring it to 1:750. If you consider only MBBS, it is 1:1750. If you take Ayush, it is 1:1000. And we want to bring it to 1:750. And in some countries, it is even 1:250. So the gap is definitely much more. Now, if you really see, Ayush are used mainly in the rural areas, and cities have more MBBS, not necessarily, but about say we create about 62,000 doctors every year. Currently, 481 medical schools, out of which about 10,000 migrate. We have 22,000 PG seats. So look at the demand is more at a PG level than at a UG level, and that's our problem. Now, do we really want to bring more doctors? In which kind of a field? Now, we did this exercise. I'm sure we have a publication on this. 2011, we had a publication through the MCI committee. We take world kind of WHO data, we took World Bank data, we found out how many diseases, load is there, what is likely to happen in next 30 years, how many anesthetists I want. If you really look, there were some branches where we are going to have problems. Look at CVTS. CVTS today have CADGs are only the only operation, all diseases is reducing, cardiology is taking a load, and we have 1200 seats. That means today if we bring 1200 CVTS surgeons every year, we will be really causing so much of things that people will all start doing cut practice. And they all will start doing things. So, all these exercises are so vague because there is no real data in this. Now, the question is the way we want to increase, the ministry wants to increase to 600 medical schools. So I remember I wrote a paper in 2006, that time there were 256 medical schools. And today there are 481 schools. And almost about 150 schools are opened up and given permission in last 3 years. Most of them have inadequacies because, and it's a very way of looking at it, things. Like one of the secretary we were talking it, and he gave me an example that you have 100 students and you have 170 doctors which needed to MCSs that they are needed. That means for 500 students we have 171 doctors. That means your ratio to teacher to student is 1:3. He says all over the world you want to make it to 1:8. Look at Georgia, China, then Russia, everywhere. So they say our students are going to Russia, China, why not we open medical schools? What is our problem is that government doesn't want to spend money on developing colleges. They want the private sector to really open up. Private sector only wants profit. They do not want to run the medical school. Because if they want to run a medical school, especially, I'm not going to all that economics, but we are in such a situation now that we have 220 government schools and 270 or 260 private schools. And all of them are worried today because many of them are running today with the new NEET exam for 8 to 10 crore negative. I don't know how long they will really hold on. So there is no point, you can increase schools, but then it will look at the history of dental, look at the engineering. All of those seats are getting vacant today. So we increase seats without clinical experience, they will go vacant, the quality will go down, we have no control over the quality. That's the answer to this.
So you touched upon a point which I was actually trying to avoid discussing, but I guess it's unavoidable, which is that the increase in seats in India has actually been in the private sector or private medical colleges, and it's a huge fault that because that's unregulated, your autonomous colleges, etc. But when I asked you about increase in the seats, one was looking at whether the state's medical school should increase seats. The state doesn't have money. The state says it has no money for healthcare. It certainly has money for many other things, including a statue. But I think there is a larger question here, which is that, and I just want to draw in Urmila into this, that this whole change, this whole shift over the last 2-3 decades, has it, in your view, is it producing, now the word better is subjective, but doctors who are more sensitive to our social needs? Is it producing a doctor who is more suited to the current needs of our society? Because let me qualify that. Is quality better or subjective?
Thanks. This thing, this network said it will start to. He has to finish.
it's a special mind sense.
So, thanks for bringing me in. I thought I was decorative for a long time. Maybe, they wanted to avoid gender bias. So, they got
That's why we made it sit in the center.
Yeah, and maybe that. So, your question was about whether we are going to get better doctors and things. I really want to ask a question, and we have a really important panel here, is that how do we measure a good doctor? Do we have good metrics to compare a medical education system to another, or an evaluation system to another? You're talking about an evaluation system, MCQs or NEET versus MCQ, whatever. What are the metrics? I mean, this is something that I'm fighting with, or it's a big challenge for me even when we work in ethics committees. How do I know whether the patient is benefited? How do I know that an ethics committee is performing at all? In the same way, what are the metrics that I should use to say that a doctor coming out of GS Medical is better? And I think you compared it with JJ in those days. Than JJ, although the JJ boys I think have far more fun than we do. We don't really have a metric. And till we don't have that, I think we need to wait. We need to develop. We need to. So that this is especially for you because of medical education. Perhaps there are metrics involved which I am not aware of. So we really need to define this good doctor. Yes, sorry. Yes, of course you are. But everybody is allowed to respond. Especially the men can respond this way. Once you can respond. No, but let me finish what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that till we have such, I really don't know. We always say we ought to be. I'm a better human being, I'm a good human being, I want to become a good doctor, all this is fine. Do we have objective parameters? Do we have outcome measures? Do we have something that we can do research on? Is it always going to be in the realm of, even if it's qualitative research, I don't mind. But before we have that, I would suggest that maybe Ravi has an answer.
So whilst Ravi attempts that...
Urmi lies in big trouble. No objective criteria, no? You said? Okay, about, let me see.
Metrics for a good doctor.
Metrics?
Yeah.
Okay.
Some metrics.
So, this was 5 years back maybe. I administered the Hippocratic Oath to Bachus here. I keep saying Bachus, they are Bachus. And they all said many things. And one of the things that comes to you is that I'll be a good doctor. I'll be a good doctor. I'll be this, I'll be that. So, I wanted to know who is a good doctor. As you said, what is a good doctor, that adjective. And whom do you ask, is the cook good or not? You don't ask other cooks, you ask the eaters. So I said, I'm not going to ask other doctors, I'm going to ask all laymen. So I went home, made a Google form and circulated to about, I don't remember now, a large number of people. No, sorry, you're wrong. See, full lagawing dance. Anyway, I'm just kidding.
Okay,
yeah.
we are waiting for your metrics.
So I got 600 responses. Of those 600 responses, about 50% were medical students and doctors, about 50% were laymen, my friends. And there are two things that stood out after analysis by a statistician. I don't understand statistics. So I had a statistician who used to sit upstairs to look at that. And most of the people, a large number, 70%, said that a good doctor is one who is concerned about the patient's welfare. Obvious? Naturally. But 60% or about thereabout said who treats the patient as a fellow human being. Yeah, all the rest fall in place below that, but these are the two most important things that stood out. Treats the fellow patient as a fellow human being and is concerned about patient welfare.
So when I attempted to define quality, good doctor, I didn't use those terms. I said something which is relevant to our society, sensitive. So there could be some metrics. So for example, you could look at what system produces doctors who are willing to serve the underserved. What system produces doctors who are willing to work in the public healthcare system? What system produces doctors who go more into public health? Because these are the needs of the country. So these are the kind of metrics, and there it seems to me, before you take, as I'm saying, provocative, to go by those metrics, probably Ayush doctors score over us.
I I'm preserving that. I think we should also remember one of the metrics which he mentioned, actually the healthcare indicators, say of, if you compare, we can compare between states now. If you have a level playing field, like if you have a common examination system, everybody is being tested by the same way, then you can have these kind of healthcare indicators and such generally well accepted metrics. I have not seen too many studies which have compared evaluation systems. Or even if you remember, sir, at one time there used to be this problem-based learning. It had become very popular. But did it bring, or what was the metrics that was used to compare?
So here you want to take that public health, because that's a need, unserved, underserved areas, unmet areas, and any of you want to look at what should be the metrics that we should look at, and we are not talking of good, bad here, morality here, but the need of it. What is needed currently? Any quick responses on that?
I think if we want to go for objectivity, then one thing that comes to my mind is about specialists. For example, if we look at surgeons, then we could compare their complication rates or their infection rates. Because I guess this is more measurable than measuring something like the number of students from a medical school who
That's competence, but we are basically saying metrics of what the Indian healthcare system wants from a doctor. What should be that? Because finally it's policy. We have to make policies, and policies are to be made looking at the need of the country.
Well, I guess, yeah. If we look at it right now, currently, then a medical doctor who is willing to go to either a village or a small town where the doctor-patient ratio is weak, or he or she wants to go to primary health center or a district hospital. I guess that would be a good metric.
So all these experiments with short courses, rural health, bachelor of rural health, etc. There is the modern medical system. I'll respond to it in a very hostile manner. But it seems to me, from observations of the last 2-3 decades, that they are certainly, whether it's the old Irish care system, or they are certainly more likely to serve underserved areas. They have been serving underserved areas over the years. And some of the recent work which has come out says that if you train people well, they perform as well as those who spend 6 years. So should we be open then to those kind of any responses to that? So what do you feel?
I think it's very difficult, BRMS, which was there. Maybe when it was there, it is somewhere in the underserved area, you are taking people for 3 years and you are putting them back a clause that they should work in that area for 5 years. And that's all fine, they are looking at the needs of that city, but we are never able to control their curriculums. And you are agreeing with it. That way, if you really see, some of them may feel really offended. But look at the world curriculums. They cut down onto the basic curriculum so much, and they only concentrate onto the clinical curriculums. If you really look at the new patterns of all over the world they have come. But we still want to give them that 2.5 years of the basic education. Now the question is that, do they really want that? If you really see all these bridge courses, take away this basic curriculum to minimum and give them clinical experience, practical experience. Now practical experience people, but the other way of looking at this is, if you give them practical experience, they will become a doctor up to a particular level. If they want to go a little higher level, their hands get tied. So if somebody wants to create a specialist or super specialist, you need a basic curriculum. So that balance has to be there. So you are creating practical doctors who would probably serve that country to a particular level, but they will miss many diagnoses. They will miss some, they will cause harm to the patients by not making a diagnosis. That's also one of the way of looking at it. It's not that a medical MBBS will also not miss, but that's the harm which we are looking at this situation.
So I'm going to open this out in 5 minutes to questions and responses from the audience. But just one point. So, Dr. Pandya, we are at the danger at the end of a day like this of not being able to define what is a good doctor. So it's a problem because throughout the day we have been talking about who should be a good doctor. So maybe you can try and take a shot at that. Before you do that, there's one more question here which is often ranking in people's mind, which is the whole issue which is linked to now the new system that's going to come up. So bonds, and there was some rabble rousing done by individuals from always on the defensive, and therefore I attack them, which is the Indian Medical Association, about RORI and this and that. But does the state have a right, the state which has invested in medical education, does the state have a right to ensure that those whose education is supported serve their research? Dr. Vaz?
So actually, I come from a college where we've had the rural service, compulsory rural service since 1973. And one of the measures of what we look for, whether we succeed in what we're doing, is the number of students who actually go on to do this rural service, because there is a legal escape clause, so they can opt out. And we also track the number of people who have committed lifelong to serving in these areas. And I have to say that we will be looking at, because we've switched to the NEET since last year, is whether we continue to fulfill that. And if we don't, then I think it will call into question what we initially were started to do, why the college was initially started. So I think there is, we've been looking at the need for meritocracy while coming in, and it is a problem deciding what we want at the end of it. But I would imagine that one of the needs which the government was trying to achieve was to actually get people to where they are.
My question is, does it have the right?
I personally feel, I can't speak for the government, but as a college I think we have the right to do it. Because I feel that we are making it very clear to students, this is what we are there for. You sign up and serve your time. And if not, there is a legal escape clause. Not all students like it, but it's stated up front.
So Dr. Pandya takes that. So, Gurmila, does the state have a right to say that you need to pay back? Why do we say that? It's my money, I am a taxpayer. My money is being spent on the education of doctors, many of whom are reasonably well.
I don't think that the state has a right to impose bonds, and I don't think bonds are the best way of making people work. This is a very personal opinion. But I do believe that state, when we are giving higher education, as high as medicine, we should charge higher fees. We should have better systems to give scholarships and approach maybe kind individuals
so
to support
those who
students.
can afford.
Let me finish. No, I don't say charge those. Even those who cannot afford, we should have systems to, pay the administration so that the college can function optimally and give the services. I mean, Harvard Medical College, which you talked about, is a private college. So, and the fees, it's not something that, how can any college function? Like you said, sir, that we are supposed to, government is supposed to start a medical school because, we do not have money as our bottom line. But we cannot charge fees. Why not? This is not primary education. It's not the right to education level. Of course, primary education can be free and the state can impose all sorts of, whatever they want to do. But we are talking about higher education, and this is specialist education. This is about giving skills which are very, very important to people who are then going to take care of the health of your society. I don't see why. So I'm not saying that only the rich should be able to afford to do this. We have to have excellent mechanisms and systems which can support the not wealthy individuals. But I do not think that by giving a bond, I don't think that we recover the money also, that we actually make them end up in doing anything. So I think that we're throwing the baby with the bathwater.
Ravi wants to make a comment.
I want to say something exactly opposite of what Urmila has said. I think the present system is more or less okay.
Okay, go ahead.
No, I don't hate you. No. Truth be told, I don't hate you.
Yeah.
Okay. The present system or something thereabouts is okay. I know personally of students who have come from very, very humble background and they have become radiology residents and good radiologists and very, very bright students. who probably would not have been it. It's all right to say that we should have a scholarship system. Who's going to make it? It is impossible to make a scholarship system to be able to pay a lakh of rupees term fee or whatever it is. What is needed by this bond system? Two things happen. One is that we are able to perhaps maintain the fee at a reasonable level. The second thing is that we are able to provide some sort of rural health service. And the third thing is that even a small number, 2 or 3% of bachus who go into the rural area are sensitized to what the country is all about. So I am in favor of bond. I escaped bond. I did some 3 months of internship in rural areas. But that opened my eyes to what is happening in the rural areas. I would never been in that place in Gujarat, whatever.
You didn't have a bond in your time. We didn't have a bond,
but we did rural service for internship. So all of you did it. We did it. So I think the present system is good, and bond should be compulsory. No big deal. 3 months in a lifetime. No big deal.
Okay.
Okay, 1 year in a lifetime.
I agree with Ravi that because of the bond, I mean, we have been able to run our peripheral hospitals better. We are able to avoid all patients coming to him. At least some work is done. I'm not saying all the bond people do the excellent work, they can do better. But I think I fully agree with him that we are able to do better. If somebody wants to pay back with his time, is acceptable. I think if he's not able to pay back money, what is wrong with it?
There's of course a view about bond which says that if you're very, very rich, you can escape it. And those are exactly the people who don't want it to escape. So, you know, that's a problem. But I think that now we have raised it to fairly high levels to deter.
Can I just shift focus a little bit? The practical matter right now is that a vast majority of our graduates become postgraduates and specialists, whilst the need of the country is for generalists. So I'm just wondering whether the educational system needs to be rewired in such a way that it's easier to become a general physician or a general practitioner, as we used to call it in the older days, and more difficult to become a specialist. Can we somehow engineer the healthcare system this way? So, if we have, say, 80% of those who get their MBBS being forced to become general physician, and only 20% go into the specialist field, a lot of current problems might get solved.
So you have to engineer. You are admitting that the state policy makers have to engineer. They have to push it towards.
Yeah, because just now it's a free for all. Anybody can do whatever they want.
We are waiting for your definition of
Can I just say one thing? While this is an attractive thing of restricting specialists, I'm not sure that will work because it's a country that needs specialists as well. I was just wondering whether we could also think of making it attractive to become a general practitioner. What is the attraction today? A person feels it's below his dignity. Oh, you only done MBBS. You know, the social acceptance also has to be there. It has to be an attractive career module. People in general practice also should be encouraged to research and get recognition, to be appreciated by, they cannot be faculty, for example, anywhere. So nobody loves them. So
you're absolutely right. I think it's about the hierarchy and the hierarchy of family physicians being low down. And we are a hierarchical society in any case, so that's what. So specialists, super specialists, and at the top, don't forget cardiac surgeons. Near God.
I have a feeling that the main disparity is one of income. If you are a general physician, general practitioner, your income is going to be, in relative terms, very low.
Yeah, so that's right.
Whereas if you are a neurosurgeon or a cardiac surgeon or something,
so I have.
Therefore, it pays me to become a neurosurgeon, cardiac surgeon, whatever. Now, coming to the definition of a good doctor, I think the primary concern is one of competence. Care of the patient, all that is secondary. The most important thing is this person a competent doctor? And what does competence mean? Competence means able to make a correct diagnosis. If he can't make a correct diagnosis on clinical examination, choosing the least expensive test that will give him the answer, and then provide the least expensive but effective form of therapy. That is a good doctor. If you have a doctor who is concerned about his patients in other ways, you're getting a bonus. But this is the crucial aspect of a good doctor, that he is competent.
Ravi, a quick comment because we need now.
Yeah, can I respond to Dr. Pandya's comments here? So in my question, there was one thing, he is competent. A good doctor is one who is competent. Only about 20% of them said he is competent. And then a few of them, I went around asking them, because I don't know who said what, and they said that we assume that a doctor is competent. These are laymen. The other thing I wanted to tell Dr. Pandya's comment about generalist or specialist in just one sentence. One simple way is to create an MD in family practice.
Already there. I mean, there are family medicine.
It's not widespread.
Okay, so we are going to open it up now. I know we are running late and therefore we have limited time. My request is identify yourself, don't give a speech. You can give a quick comment and be a little crisp and ask a question. So there's a hand right back there. Now we need mics going up there, but if you can shout, please. In our time, we should shout from there and we could be heard. Okay, any more mics?
Good afternoon, sir. So I'm Nilaki from 2nd MBBS. I actually did my 12th from Kota.
Okay.
So I have
Oh, yeah, Kota. Okay.
Yeah, so I have
IIT, you did go to IIT, you came to medicine.
so I have been into a lot of MCQs. My question, my query is that, sir, we all assumed that MCQs are fair. MCQs came into the view because they are fair. Sir, what happens when I was into competition? I was competing with 12 lakh people all across the country, and if you are out of 2000, you don't get a good medical college. That is what is the deal with AIMUP, or at least when I was giving the exam. So one single question, and the rank varies by like 100 and 200.
Yeah.
Hello? It varies by 100 and 200 ranks. So if somebody guesses one question, there are two people in the same exam hall. I can eliminate that two answers are not correct from the options. I just have two answers to guess one out from. I choose A, someone chooses B. Both of us are competent, and in fact I may be even more competent than him. But the guy who chose B got into the medical college and I couldn't, because I fell down 200 ranks because of one single question.
Yeah, but bad luck in the sense, I mean, you accept that, this is the point we were trying to discuss, that we accept the primacy of MCQ as being the most objective method currently. But if there is such a huge denominator attempting those MCQs, which is what I was trying to refer to. The denominator is huge. So, bad luck, and smart guesses also work in life. So, but any other questions?
Yeah. No, what he was saying was dukka lagate hai. This is the term which is very famous in students. But dukka lagate hai means out of 4 they just pick, and as he said, by chance the candidates goes and they score over, and they discuss out ki out of 100 questions 20 ka dukka lagaya lekin lag gaya. So that kind of a thing which he wants to, and that is a concern. What he is saying, that competency and dukka lagana is a two complete extreme terms, right, which the students themselves are facing.
Okay. Any, yeah. Please give the mic. Yeah.
So this is regarding the bond. While there are government colleges in engineering as well as in law.
But yeah, so there are government colleges in engineering as well as in law, not just in medicine. So why is it that we talk about bond only for the doctors? Ideally, the roads are poor, we have a very poor civil infrastructure, the judiciary is really behind. I don't think we can really work with 1 to 4 waiting list. When I have a waiting list of 3 months, I feel really bad. There was a time 20 years back when I joined, we used to have waiting lists of 6 months. Today when I brought it down to, let us say, 2.5 months, I feel really happy. So why is it that only us? I'm not saying we shouldn't have bond. I think the bond doctors, as Sir said, have really helped us out. But then why don't we have bond also for the engineers? Let them see real society. Let them see the villages. Why don't we have judges also serving some bonds so that they can help to clear out all that backlog? So can we also bring this out more in the open?
Yeah, Ravi is going to take that.
I'm getting notorious, is it?
No, you're just...
Okay.
Just up here.
Only doctors learn within quotes at the cost of poor, unquestioning patients in government hospitals. Engineers don't.
That
You
is
love your
what-
surgery
can I
on
answer?
unsuspecting poor patients in government hospitals.
Can I answer?
It's exactly right. The engineers, lawyers don't learn on patients. They learn at the cost. Most of us learn at a very low cost than what actual cost of the education is there. And I think we are helping the society. That is another aspect of life.
So I'm not speaking against bond. My point is that the government, when they ask us to do a bond, they are also talking about giving back to society because the government has put money. The government very much puts money into setting up, for example, in October 2016, there was this talk about 45 new engineering colleges which are going to be set up by the government in the state of Maharashtra. It was trying to expand the technical colleges and they are putting a huge amount of money there. Why cannot then our civil infrastructure improve, that is engineering, our roads? Why cannot our judiciary? There are government law colleges, a lot of money is put in that also.
Dr. Pandya is going to respond, but I can't just say two things. Number one is that nobody's case that you should not hold other professions accountable. Nobody's case. But also, we have to, I believe we have to accept that doctors are always going to have a higher level of scrutiny. And by the way, we use that constantly in our lives to say that we are greater than others in every small thing. That I want to jump a queue, police ne pakda to, a doctor who, etc. etc. So we have a habit of using that to our advantage. So Dr. Pandya.
I think here our discussion is about how we set our house in order. If you want to set the entire nation's house in order, judiciary, engineering, etc., I think that's an enormous scope and that's beyond our jurisdiction, our competence, beyond anything that we can do.
But Dr. Pandya, you must address the fact.
At the moment, what we are trying to learn amongst ourselves is, can we improve our little system of medicine? I think that's the focus of attention.
Yeah, so two more questions, three. Okay, so you were first. At least I spotted you first. Yeah, with the mic.
Hello sir, I am Yashwant from BJ Medical College, third minor. Sir, when we are examining, why can't we have the UPSC, means UPSC form of examination for this, means the prelims is objective, then we have a subjective and then we have interview, so means practical. So means for the subjective test, we have the MBBS examinations in our curriculum, university wise. So what we do is the first year we are all new, so we have already a new study. The second year the trend is they all do time pass and all the events. The third minor is somewhat studious, and third major and internship focus for the PG entrance. So we have for maintaining the consistency, we cumulative average of all the years. So we are all focused and we are all, and the last means practical examination, that's interview the weight cut. So we make an average of all the scores according to the weightage, and so we will get good doctors. So hasn't the government or the administration thought about it in any way to make this?
So 2010 PG, if you look at Vision 2015 document, we had proposed this, but the infrastructure required is so much that they did not really take it. Otherwise, it's possible. And secondly, if you start doing it, the chance that people will lose 1 year if people are not ready to do that. Anyway, they lose it sometimes in postgraduate, but undergraduate they are not willing to do that. But this was all proposed. You take first year marks, second year marks, third year marks, you take one exam at every level, and then interview at level, all this. But the infrastructure required for this is so huge that this was rejected by the government.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would like to contest what was being said right now. So he mentioned that in second year and third year, students actively engage into various co-curricular activities. And I strongly feel that it is extremely important that students do. So if you have exams at every other month, every few months, it is only going to prohibit or sort of stop the students from engaging in other activities, and that would severely affect what sort of a person he becomes at the end of school. So medical doctor is not just supposed to be someone who has good knowledge, but like what we are discussing right now, supposed to have other skill sets.
You're saying that we don't need more.
Yeah, we definitely don't need more.
The vision document was that you have an exam after every year, which is common to everyone. That was so that again to level the field to be fair, common to an entire national exam, which looks at your first MBBS, second MBBS, third MBBS. So to spread it out over years. Yeah. So, but there's one more way to reduce exam stress. By the way, don't take them seriously. I mean, we did it all the time. I'll meet me later, I'll tell you how we did it, but we did it all the time. So you don't need to take all exams seriously. So, yeah, next question. Okay, right there, yeah. Now, just start talking loud because we are
Hello. I think the discussion came again and again on the topic of measuring the competence of a doctor who graduates. We wouldn't be having this serious discussion about somebody who is passing law or somebody who is passing engineering and on their competence because we are dealing with human beings. But isn't it about what you want to do rather than how good you are at it? All of us hope to be great, but we don't know we are going to be great. We just do it because we love it. What happens later, happens later. Isn't it when you have graduated, isn't it law of the jungle? Is the survival of the fittest? If you're good, you survive. If you're not,
it is, but it's trying to tame the jungle a little, trying to make it a little wide, less wide. That's what we are discussing.
So isn't it better to curate things where you can curate them? It's pretty much impossible to ask 100,000 students whether you're good at something or not. It's better to curate the MCQs, the quality of MCQs, and later on how a doctor is going to behave while he is in the society. I think those two things are something that
can be used for MCQs, but I congratulate you for bringing an artistic term for MCQs. You said curate MCQs. Okay, congrats. Okay. There was not really any specific questions unless you want to respond.
Since we have a talk of entrance exams and MCQs, I'd like to ask any of the panelists, what is your take on the exit exam which is proposed by the government, which may be into action from next year?
Okay, one more exam, exit exam. But again, trying to make it more uniform. I think the basis for it is trying to make it more uniform, right? Across states, across universities.
Not talking about the practicality, yeah, I think an exit exam is a brilliant idea.
Yeah, there's finally something I agree with you. I think it is great to have a common exit exam, but that exit exam should substitute for a PG entrance. You can't have multiple. The same exam should serve as your PG entrance exam because then you will really, you don't need to have a final. Anyway, today the so-called university final examinations are kind of meaningless because everybody is studying for that entrance exam because that's the one that's going to give you the.
So I had one question here which I didn't have the courage to ask. Sorry. Yeah, we'll listen to it.
Actually, first thing you cannot compare, you cannot mix the criteria-based exam with a normative exam. And this is scientifically you will kill the whole concept into that. Next was designed for people who come from China, Russia. At that time, the national board used to take one theory exam where the percentage of passing was only 3 to 5%. Now the government had a concern about this. So they tried to bring this next. But as I fully agree with Ravi that it is a good concept with no practical kind of solution for us. So even if government wants to bring it, it will be brought as only a theory exam. I don't know what will be the relevance of that exam. Unless you bring the practical component into this, which is very difficult to really conduct for 60,000 in a uniform way, I don't think we have that kind of an infrastructure. It will remain only on the paper.
Okay, any last two questions? Okay, quick.
I am Ayub Rathwar from Pioneer MBBS from GS only. I would like to ask question to all the panelists who raised question about imposing bonds in rural areas. So we study in a public institution funded by public money, study from public, and it's our sole responsibility that, you know, serving a bond for 1 year in rural area, which is actually important. Like, isn't it our responsibility to serve in a rural area just for 1 year? Just because it becomes a sole responsibility because of, you know, studying in a public.
You're saying it should come from within. What are you saying? There's no point to come. It doesn't. It won't. It does not. I can give you statistics of my batch if you want, but it does not. What are you saying? What are you saying?
Just because they are in public
Something to do with the fact that because you've been through a public institution, you should not be necessarily.
Isn't it a sole responsibility? Like, you know, imposing bonds. This is question for all the panelists, like, who are opposing, like, imposing bonds on the students.
My batch 60 people are in North America, so forget about the population.
I have one, it's a comment.
This is now the last year.
At Gadchiroli, Surge, Dr. Abhay and Rani Bang, they train Arogya Doots. These are health workers. And the passing marks are 75% for them. Now, this is competence. So, to my knowledge, nowhere, but they have set their standards. And they have trained the Arogya Doots, the health workers. They are conducting deliveries. They have brought down the infant mortality rate. Maternal health care is improved because 75% passing.
Yeah, so I think that's as far as the audience response is concerned, we'll just wind up. But before we do that, I thought we should have some, I know it's not easy what we discussed to summarize, but all of you maybe a quick sentence or two as to what you feel. I use this topic actually not just to go into the depth of it, but as a marker of what's generally happening in education, medical education, and also a marker of how we are looking at healthcare. So, would you like Dr. Pandya to start and tell us a summary of what you feel? The message you want to give on this issue.
Well, if you want to know what I honestly feel, the system is rotten. There is a total lack of character, and unless these two things change, there's going to be no improvement. You can go on talking till the cows come home about what system to adopt, MCQ versus this, that, whatever.
I agree. But I personally feel this I have put down in the National Medical Commission bill that the NCR has to get scrapped and the new has to have a new page. But I really don't know whether that will also change the character of the people. And we have to live with those people and we have to try to bring change within that character, which is one of the most difficult challenges for all of us. But that's the attempt we have to do.
I agree too. But I think that as we move ahead, I think what we will be doing is trying to look very closely at what is happening from year to year, because that's all that we can do. And then I think accept the responsibility within the institution that we have to, if we feel there is something that's not working, to try and make changes with the system that already exists.
And Urmila, you get 4 minutes, 2 minutes extra.
So no, your question at the beginning was entrance exams and MCQ spoilers or levelers. If I can take you back there, I think they are levelers, and because we do have a lot more fairness in these kind of MCQs as against the earlier very subjective method of examining, where again it was dependent on the examiner what you got. However, they are also spoilers because we do not have good MCQs. And I think, and that's exactly where I agree with what Dr. Supe told us, that a huge investment needs to be made. And I think if the government even tried this, it would be good, because it's according to me the same thing that we're doing while setting standards for medical colleges. I mean, you are counting a college good or bad depending upon the number of lecture theatres it has, or examination rooms it has, or the number of chairs it has, and not the quality of education that is imparted, or the outcome, the quality of the doctor that comes out of the student. So if we had better metrics, I think it would work, and I think it would be not spoilers, it would be good levelers if we could really invest in improving this MCQ, entrance exam, exit exam, anywhere, objective method of evaluation. I didn't take it before.
2 sentences, 2 minutes. I feel that MCQ is the only way of entrance exams. The second is that, thank you for this great opportunity to sum up. I want to assure Urmila that I have nothing against her.
I think I agree with Dr. Urmila that we need to focus more on improving the quality of MCQs, and there will always be some imperfection in that, and we can try to improve that in the medical curriculum by producing better doctors.
Right. So, if this session was was a little contrast to the preceding session. There are many explanations for that. One is age, but also the fact that this topic needed to go beyond just rhetoric. We needed to go a little into the issues. So we have been we have had a calming effect on you. That's nice. Thank you.